Evening everyone. Thank you all for coming. I think this must be the closest I've got to a full house since I've been a councillor, I think. We're not quite. We've got one missing, haven't we? And we're still one short, so we are only 12. But I think that's probably the best turnout I've ever seen. So thank you all for joining us tonight, and to the members of the public as well. We've just got one apology for absence, I believe.
That's from Councillor Clark.
That's from Councillor Clark. And everyone else is here, so thank you. Declarations of interest. So has anyone got anything they need to declare? Disposable pecuniary interests, any other interests? Dispensation, gifts, hospitality, inappropriate gifts offered. I've got one. I've just come back from Andrassy, of course, so I was very kindly accepted the hospitality of the town of Andrassy for our twinning visit, so they put me up in a hotel for 3 nights and gave me the odd glass of wine and a few nibbles over the period of 3 days, so that's which you all knew I was going to be doing. There's also some relatively small, low intrinsic value gifts that have come back, which I've handed on to Emma to distribute amongst the council staff. There's not very rich pickings, I'm afraid, for them, but then hopefully they'll find something they like.
It's not like last time, then.
I knew you were going to say that too, Pam.
Okay, next item is minutes of previous meetings. So you haven't seen in your pack the minutes of the last full council meeting. If no one's got anything they want to raise, I will ask for someone to propose those. Thank you, Neville. And second? Thank you, Val. And those in favour? That's certainly more than enough. You get the numbers, I think it's 10 of us, I think.
2.
We weren't there.
We were, yeah.
2.
Yeah, 2 abstentions. Yeah, okay. So, sure. Okay, and the next one is the minutes from the neighbourhood plan meeting, which again you should have seen. So I wasn't there, but for those of you that were, if someone could propose them, I'd be grateful. Thank you. Councillor Peel, and second. Thank you. And those in favour?
I was last week.
Just me that was abstaining because I wasn't there. Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, next item is public participation. Does anyone in the public gallery want to make any comment at this time? Nope. Nope, shaking of heads. Okay, have we got any other requests for interested parties? Nope, great. District Councillor's report. Emma, do you want to quickly mention the thing we've had from Rupert?
Yeah, I have an email from Rupert today just to inform you that there is going to be a meeting with Ian Morris. He's just in the process at the moment of organising it and getting some of his other colleagues together, so we will hear about it.
Okay. And there's nothing else from District Councillors?
No, I haven't had anything.
Okay. Next item is Mayor's report. Again, you've seen the words I've put together for the Oracle, which basically is my report for this month. So
Thank you for the kind words.
you're welcome.
What was it? Sorry, did I read that? I did read most of it. I didn't read everything.
I acknowledge Councillors Peel and Robertson's efforts
Oh,
on both
thank you
neighbourhood
very
plan
much.
and the town bridge.
I just recall the considerable the sycophancy that's going on.
I did read it, but I didn't think.
And not for tonight because it's not on the agenda, but I think I would like to just tell you a bit about my experiences in Andrassy next time or at some point, and also what we're going to do next with twinning, but I'll say for another time. Okay, moving on then to town matters. So we have...
I start.
Sorry?
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah?
Didn't I should have done.
Okay.
I'm first. I'll be very quick.
Okay.
As you know, we had this exercise. It was a regional exercise in the county terms because it covered Thrapston and about 8 towns, not villages, in the area. We were an emergency evacuation centre using Fletton House for that. And to be honest, I turned up at 8 o'clock and we already had somebody I didn't expect who was apparently part of Peterborough. His email was peterborough.gov.uk from Stanford. Who helped throughout the day. Councillor Peel came along, had a look, didn't he? When it got going. No, Terry came along, sorry. No, you didn't, it was Terry.
I can't be in.
I didn't see it, I was looking at it, it's on the edge. But we had the Red Cross, and basically what it was to test the voluntary services in the area. And having been involved in this sort of thing before, for real, the difference is yin and yang. It's completely different. We can now pull apart a lot more services than we did before, and we can use this place as an evacuation centre. Basically downstairs the cafe was used, the whole of the cafe was used. We didn't use the ballet room because of feet, shoes and all that stuff, so it's actually the cafe area that was used. They actually used this room as a preparation room. There's a casualty union. If you like drama and you want to take part and get yourself made up and become a casualty, they were all up here, being sneaked out through the back. But little things like, first thing that happens at 7:30, we had a communications network. So the whole point is you can't count on your communications, you have to make your own up. So there's a communication system all in place, it just happens. And then the British Red Cross come along, they set up a sort of centre, like a control centre to deal with people coming in, and that's what we had. We had people dealing with medical people, and it was very interesting. I'll never wear that as again because I got conned to thinking of a paedophile on site, bearing in mind we had Arundel School, and when this it felt genuine, sorry, and I was panicking, so I thought, bloody hell, what's got school here, you know? But actually it was fake. It was because we had the that's the reason why we did it. We also had another incident with a young lad who claimed he was being bullied by his mates, and I was into full teacher mode to try and recover him, and after about 10 minutes of being nice to him, he said, "Can I stop now? Is it time to finish?" So, but actually we had tears, we had people displaying lots of different injuries, and it was quite traumatic actually, because everything came at the same time. And to watch them do their organisation with their outfits, you've seen some of the pictures, I've got a lot more, but I'm not going to bore you with those, but if you want to see them later, I'll show them. There are going to be some recommendations. For example, minor one, shower. For us to be a 24-hour evacuation centre, we have to have shower facilities. We don't. So that means we can only operate on a day basis, and they'd have to be sent somewhere else. I suspect they'll go to the school, but we have to ask the school that first. They were willing to do it before, and they're willing to do it again. But that's an issue. Things like taps, distinguishing between drinking water taps and non-drinking water taps was another issue raised, and they're going to write a whole report and give it to us. I don't think it's major, because they're normally used to going into a Scouts building, like the Jones Strong Centre, and using that as their centre. So the fact they had Fletton House was amazing, and part of the benefit of us moving to Fletton House is that we have now got a facility that can be used in emergencies, which was quite something. So a lot of lessons learned. I don't know if Terry wants to say anything, but it was rather impressive, wasn't it?
It was impressive. There were lots of people, I was only down here mostly a short time, but there were lots of people seemingly running around and a little bit chaotic.
That's the
But when you actually stopped and looked at who was doing what, that's how it would be. The people who weren't in chaos were the people who were checking people in and out. The ambulance people, these sort of people were in a ring around all this chaos and seemed to be controlling it.
Yes, it was the actor's job to make chaos, you see, and they did. And so helped improve links, a lot of very positive comments from people who don't come up this part of the world, for the town itself and everything else. So it was another side effect, is that people who don't normally come here got to see us as well as the town, and they thought it was lovely. They really do think it's So that came about, so a good bit of PR, but that's it.
Excellent, thank you very much. Okay, if we're happy then, thank you both for your update. Next item is to consider and approve paying for a traffic warden to enforce parking restrictions on New Street on Armistice Sunday.
No brainer.
No, so
The only main issue is people who parked there on the day before.
Yeah.
Because we had a big white van there one year, which was parked right in front of the Talbot Hotel. And there were several other vehicles as well. So that's the big problem, not so much, because the traffic warden can't do very much if there's a car parked there and you don't know where the owner is.
Yeah.
So that's my only mini gripe.
Can we turn them away with a traffic warning?
can we?
Turn them away? If
No.
the traffic warning-
Well, if the car's already there, it's a
No.
problem.
Can
Yeah, go on.
I say a few words? This came up at the British Legion meeting, because every year we have somebody, as you quite rightly say, parking opposite the Talbot there, right where the parade gathers, disrupting the parade, and very often they come out in the middle of the parade and think they're going to drive off through the barriers, and the parade will all step aside and let them drive off when they've had lunch and beer and what have you. And they're politely told, I'm sorry, you'll now have to wait till it's all over. Last year we had somebody revving a car engine while the parade, we were on the green taking the salute, we had somebody trying to rev a car engine louder than the band to disrupt the proceedings. We don't want that for the 100th anniversary, and we certainly don't want any horrible scenes resulting from it, of somebody getting irate about it. So if we have a traffic warden on site from, say, sometime in the morning, entirely up to you what time they start, but it's been suggested if they're there, if people are parking there early on and move away before the parade, it's not a problem, but it's making sure that there's someone to say, how long are you going to be? If you're just popping into somewhere to pick up a newspaper or something, fine, but if you're going to be here after 1 o'clock, I'm going to ask you to move now because you're going to be right in the way of the parade. So it's somebody to do that officially, and the county can provide somebody. They will provide someone to do that. They can enforce a no parking restriction, they tell me, during the hours that we've got that restriction in place, which is from 1 p.m.
Yeah, it's from 1 minute past midnight on the 11th, right through to 4:30.
That's no parking.
Yeah, and then the roads are closed from 1, so
Yeah.
there's no cars at all.
Yeah, we're then closing the roads for 1. But it's just before the parade is the key bit, where we really want to make sure that there's nobody parked in there, and traffic wardens encourage them to move on, hopefully with as little fuss as possible. Councillor Peel.
So can I just make sure I understand this? If we put up signs saying no parking from midnight,
They're going up from 2, but the signs will go up 2 weeks before.
yeah, that means that the traffic warden, if there's anybody parked at 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock when he comes in, he can actually write a ticket out and they will get fined.
Yeah, they can, yeah.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I think, you know, if you start to do it this year, and hopefully people are going to get the situation that they're not going to be able to park there next year,
Yeah.
and it might add to the ball rolling to stop people
I
parking.
don't think anyone's saying this is a bad idea, so
No.
I'll-
No,
let's
I
go
just want to make sure
so let's
That's all I'm just
put a parking ticket on them.
Yeah.
you see.
I'm worried about actually just getting the no parking up the night before, really.
But I mean, it's,
Because unfortunately, there are people who are staying in the Talbot and whatever else who stick their cars there.
it might make things twice as safe if you get them ticket in the morning. Yeah.
The only other thing we've got to do then, sorry, Terry, the only other thing we've got to do is decide how many hours we want the traffic warden for, and then also how much we're prepared to pay, and then convey that to county, who will then tell us what the cost will be for the number of hours that we want. Sorry to interrupt you.
Can we not ask the Talbot to put a notice in there when people are checking in, or tell them when they're checking in what's going on?
Wouldn't hurt, would it, drop a note to the top? Just ask them.
Yeah, but the whole day.
Yeah,
starting
yeah,
at
I mean, I'm 9 o'clock.
finishing at whatever time it
9 o'clock's
finishes.
probably early enough, isn't it? 9 till 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no point, once the roads are closed, there's no point in having them there, is there?
I'd say
Only
8
need
till,
you-
8 till 1.
Yeah,
8
8
till
to 1,
1,
the only
8 till
different
1.
time, because from 1 o'clock the road's closed.
Well, once we've had the march past, obviously everything then moves on to St Peter's, and you tend not to have a problem then.
Yeah. 8 till 1 then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's it. That's
someone
fine.
going to propose it? No, second it? and
I'll
vote on it?
propose.
Yeah.
I mean,
Councillor Fuller, Councillor Oakes, all those favour? Everyone, I think, yes. Okay, great. Next item is, I must admit, I didn't quite get my head around this one when I read it. It says to give permission for an A-frame notice to be put up in the churchyard advertising the Christmas trade fair. I was a bit confused as to why we had to give permission.
I think the church is
Churchyard's ours.
Yeah, church
we
out.
run it.
Well, again, I think it's pretty much of a no-brainer as well, isn't it, really?
It came from Ian, from Councillor Clark,
Okay.
because he's our fair trade
Okay.
representative,
It-
and they asked him to ask our permission.
Okay.
Yeah, look, it's very kind of them to ask, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
In my
you want
opinion.
to do a, yeah, this will be fine, you can do it sort of every year, because they have been doing it anyway,
Yeah,
Um,
why not?
and it only goes up for a short period of time, it's not something that they do.
Yeah.
Shall I propose it?
Thank you. Thank you to all those in favour. Yeah, that's everyone. Okay, next one might be a bit more controversial. Yeah, there's a request from volunteer action to add a disabled parking bay next to the dentist in West Street.
Which dentist?
I guess.
The one in West Street.
There are two.
Well, the
Just along
NHS one.
Just along from Beans.
Yeah. So just as a contribution to this, I think whilst we're still working out what the traffic flows will be due to Northbridge, there's no point in painting the road now and then have it changed later on. Once we've settled what's happening with traffic flow, then I think we won't have a problem with it.
Can I make a suggestion then? Can we defer it until after that?
I think that's sensible.
We've got a lot.
Yeah. Not that we don't think there should be one, but there's no point in painting the road now.
Neville?
I was just going to say that there have been actually complaints that we've got too many disabled parking spaces in the town.
We've got one.
Well,
There's a double one opposite Beans.
but the reason is, well, look, can I say, look, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying there have been complaints from traders mainly about the fact that there are more disabled spaces than we actually need. So this is a bit of a tricky one, really.
Can I make a proposal then?
Go on then.
Can we, before we discuss this, it would be useful to have a map with all the disabled parking on it, and then we can address this after the bridge has been done, and we can do a proper job to assess whether there is adding another one will cause additional problems. So simply defer it, with the review it again with the map with all the disabled parking in, then we can make a decision.
Would it be helpful if we pushed it to the estates meeting and then the estates come back with
that's a good
another
idea.
idea?
So just continue with it through a stage.
It's through states.
I'm going to go back to VA and say, look, if you've got a blue badge, you can park on the yellow lines.
I know that, yes, yeah.
So I'm not sure as
That's what
vital
we need someone to.
as we're being led to believe,
Yeah.
because you can park this. It's only about two bits of parking away from the yellow lines.
Yeah,
where
that's
the
a good
dentist
point.
is.
I'm just going to say that if we are going to investigate it, I think we should probably contact the various traders who are going to be affected in West Street and ask them their view, because I think I know what it will be.
I think we'll be able to come and roads. I think we better just.
It's not straightforward.
I think this is a dead
So it's
back.
been deferred, is it?
I think
Yeah.
we'll have
Do you
we'll
propose?
have another go.
Well, not
No, I don't think so. No, we'll have a talk about it in the States next week. Yeah.
It's a dead back one.
Okay. Now then, this is going to be a tall order, but can we get an update on North Bridge? But a brief update.
Very briefly. Up until today, and I will say this quite literally, up until today, we have emailed, we have cajoled, we've tried to get people to actually take notice from the NCC, and had absolutely no communication with Ian Morris or Matt Goldberg. We have had an email from Stuart. They're still deciding on the roads in Elmdale, and the X4 route is still being decided as well. That's the only information we have to date. However, Tony here, this clever young man,
Due to a cockle.
well, I wasn't going to say that on the
More sycophants.
due to sending an email to the wrong person, has actually now been promised a meeting with the beloved Ian Morris and other officials from the NCC. What about that?
Very good.
I think that's brilliant.
How has that happened? How did you get into through the back door?
It's an
I'm
email to the wrong
I'm
person.
Ian Clark, and on my email address I sent Ian Morris.
I knew that was a good
Yeah,
one.
thanks. Nice.
Says
What
what?
were the words in the email?
Luckily, it was
Wasn't too rude.
Those people at NCC.
It was actually to do with freedom of information.
Yeah, so we've also applied through the Freedom of Information Act now for all
Yes.
the information.
Sure.
We previously held back on it because we thought it could be aggressive and controversial. So we wanted a quiet meeting rather than that.
And that's what it's active.
We've applied for that information as well.
Now we don't care if we have an aggressive meeting.
Well done. Big knowledge.
Okay,
That was quite impressive, Peter.
What?
How brief you were.
thank
I
you.
know, you see,
Well done.
I'm always
Don't
brilliant.
start again now.
Right, next one.
Next one is Fletton Field. So I don't know if we're going to. Christina, you sent an update. Do you want
Just
to
very briefly.
say anything quickly?
Sure, yes. So as councillors may be aware, the bid went into Commons for the consortium bid of 275 for Fletton, made up of the Town Council contribution, Amble School, and also what we expect to get through the crowdfunder. That's gone to Commons. We've trying to get my words carefully here. Timescales that NCC are working to are now such that we only got this actually out of Tom Percival sending an email, a letter, sorry, to NCC to elicit a response. And that came through from James Aldridge through to Tom, who then forwarded it on to us, suggesting that the NCC are not going to close bids for the field from developers until what they say they've tested it on the market, which means applied for a planning permission. Another planning permission, I should say. So we think this is why there's been some delay now about what's actually happening. It's all gone a bit quiet. We've also, through trying to establish situation with the Section 77 permission. Now the Section 77 is whenever a playing field is sold, this, whoever's selling the playing field needs to apply to the Minister for Education for permission to sell. Now, there still isn't a permission in place for Fletton, so they still don't have permission to sell Fletton. So, our understanding is that the planning application hasn't gone in yet to East Northants because they haven't actually got confirmation of this Section 77 from the Minister. What we do know is that through the primary school going to the academy, that the Section 77 to sell part of the Cotterstock Road field was refused, and that whole field will transfer through to the new academy. And we also know that a decision has been made on the Kingscliff sites as well, where the Minister agreed for the Kingscliff part of the playing field of the old middle school site, and also the footprint of the school can be sold as well. So it's our understanding that, that Fletton will shortly be known, but as yet we don't. The situation that leaves us in then is that the crowdfunder we are holding open, and timescales are such that we think it's going to be into the new year now, into 2019, before we know what the deadline for bids is going to be, but there's likely to be a planning application coming through first. So as a group we're keeping an eye out on that, and just to impress really the importance of the neighbourhood plan and that process in terms of the status of the field is properly considered. But happy to take any questions or if there's anything else. Oh, sorry, no, yes, and there's we've been approached by the Chronicle who are running an article on Fletton and other things, I think. So that will be going out in November time.
Great.
That'll help you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very
No,
much.
thank you for everything.
Okay.
Okay, if we're okay to move on then, the next item is to receive the clerk's reports, which again you've found in your packs.
There's not questions.
No questions? No, okay. Next item, to improve Councillor Stagg as a member of Estates Management Committee and Finance and General Purchase Committee.
I would propose it.
We're happy to take them all together, both of them, yeah. Everyone's
No,
okay. No sweat there. Okay. Whoosh.
Sorry, just that.
That was, I think it was, no one proposed
You're
it.
an abstention.
One abstention.
David.
You're an abstention.
No, I was seconded.
David seconded it. I didn't.
You could do it again.
Do you want to do the go
Yeah,
again?
we can do that
Those in
again,
favour?
yes.
I'll propose it.
I'm seconded.
Oh, we've done that a bit.
Right, hang on a minute, right. Yeah.
Nine. Okay. Anyone against? No. Two abstentions. Two abstentions, I think. Yeah. Okay. No, town meeting, yes. So I see from the last meeting that it was agreed that we would hold an extraordinary town meeting to discuss neighbourhood plan on North Bridge, which I'm fine with, obviously, because that's our decision. I guess we need to confirm a date, and that's it really. That's the agenda items to
And really, what
do it.
your format's going to be, and whether you're going to have a presentation.
Well, I think we need a presentation. I would suggest that it needs to be done by the people who have been most involved in the two things.
Yep. Okay.
So I guess between the three of us plus any other volunteers who want to be involved, we'll pull something together. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm hard at work.
And thank you, Neville. So there's four of us that have volunteered, I think, to pull something together. I would suggest we keep it fairly snappy and concise, and then we need a date. So.
Well, that I think is an important part. I think we can't linger on this. We need to sort of get it going fairly quickly.
Well,
The only slight concern I have about that is that it does feel like there's a lot of unknowns still at the moment. So, I mean, if we have a meeting early, we're going to be telling people about a lot of problems that we don't have answers to at the moment.
But I think they need to be aware.
So we're happy with doing that. Is what we're saying. Go on.
When's that Chronicle coming out? Yeah, but when? Because that's another opportunity.
When's the Oracle coming out?
Well, the Oracle and the Chronicle. You see, the Chronicle's another newspaper that people read, and I think there'll be a good opportunity for, is it Lee to come in and interview you guys and write an article, and then we've got the Oracle as well, which goes
that's
to
about November time.
Oracle.
That's gonna go out.
So-
So you need it after.
Can I make a suggestion that she's there, and at least, or if it's after or before, we get it in that Oracle, Chronicle somehow, because that's a very much. I think lots of people read that.
Yeah. Okay. No.
But I think it's also important for people to understand our position in this.
Yeah, transparency.
I mean, I think that a lot of people, certainly I'm imposed with chess in the work trades, and you know what you're doing about it. And basically, we're completely impotent, really. And we've been battling away, and certainly these Councillor Peel, Councillor Robinson, been trying to smash a few doors down. And I think it's important that we do try. But I think one of the issues is if we're going to have a town meeting, we're going to have to get the advertisement out in some way. Yeah. And I don't think we can do it through the Oracle. It's going to have to be a special one. And we're possibly going to have to vote a budget on that, I think.
Well, at the moment, the draft version of the Oracle has got the town meeting.
No, to put a date.
To put a date in there. So that will go out when? That will go out?
In November. I'm just actually looking at QBH for suitable dates.
So that will go out early-ish November, I guess.
It would be nice if you had to.
A member of the public wants to say something.
Yes, it would. And the other thing, it would be nice if it happened before they put the barricades up.
Yes.
Well, that's not going to happen now until January, I'm told.
Okay. All right.
Go on.
So we're looking at
Thank you. When we were approached to speak to the Chronicle about Fletton Field, the essence of the article appeared to be how much at fault or how responsible NCC might be in how difficult it is for them with their financial issues, and is that possibly why they're making such a thing about Fletton Field, selling off assets, crown jewels. And I'm surprised that they haven't approached the council for some comment on.
Are we talking about the Chronicle now or the NCC?
Chronicle.
Oh, sorry.
The Chronicle's running an article which is trying to have a go at the NCC.
Good.
Well, that's good, because so will we.
So it might
Oh,
be
using
sensible for the
Fletton
council.
as like the bleeding stump, really.
Yes.
It seems odd that they're not using
Yeah,
this in
maybe
town.
they've gone elsewhere, because Richard would.
Councillor Stone.
Do we think it's advantageous to have Tom Purslove at this meeting, especially for the Northbridge visit, in as much as it shows the County Council that we're really serious about this,
Well,
and we're not just going to sit back and wait while they do something?
we ought to try and do it on a Friday, I guess, then, if that's the case.
But he's been very supportive so far.
The only problem we have is at the moment they're putting the team together, but they actually haven't given us a date, are they?
No,
That's
no.
going to be the biggest problem.
But if we talk about dates and availabilities then, there was a previous conversation about having it on Saturday, wasn't there?
Was there? Okay.
Yeah, no, I can't remember who put forward the Saturday idea.
What's
Being more likely to get a crowd in. You know, and the Saturday of farmers market would be ideal, but we've now let
We wouldn't be able to have the Queen Vic then.
because we've let it out. Yeah.
So are we saying that we should get the Oracle out and do the Chronicle and let's say have a meeting mid-November?
Well, it all depends on availability dates, doesn't it? I mean, what
I mean, Mondays in November look quite reasonable. No, that's not reasonable, not the 19th.
What about Saturdays?
Nor the
In November,
26th.
To be honest, the timing now we've
Tuesdays
got,
we can't do.
to be fair, we've got till January before they do that.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, but
So-
you see, what I'm thinking of is with December, people aren't...
No, but we've got to do it in November.
Yeah.
So, as long as we do it after the Oracle and the Chronicle have come out, it doesn't matter. It would be nice if we could do it after the meeting, but it doesn't really matter either, because this whole thing is what Councillor Oakes is talking about, which is this transparency.
Yeah.
So what we're bringing to the town is this idea that we've got this issue, we're doing our best to deal with it, this is what we're doing, but it's not us, but we're telling you what we're doing. So that's the key message to get across, and you lead them up by having these articles in the paper that gives a lot more background information, and those people are really interested in vociferous can come to the meeting and then make their points. If we can get the MP in, that would be fantastic, because you want some local, if we can get the local press involved, like, I mean, we should be doing Australia, Northampton, all that lot, but it needs a proper, whoever the sales and whoever our PR will are, we need to have them do a piece that then goes out to local press, and then you do it.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the plan.
Well, basically, the NCC is putting together a defence committee. That's what they're doing. They're going to try to come sort of semi-norm-handed, try and prove that the 3-ton limit is the only excuse. And Tony, Councillor Robinson's observations, I think, are entirely apposite. He's basically saying, look, you didn't discuss it with us, you dropped this on us like a grenade, and we have an alternative solution which actually would suit the town far better and reduce the kind of disruption that your proposal is going to put in.
Yeah.
But what they're doing now, though, is they're matting, they're circling round, you can watch them going round in the wagons.
Yes. Can we bring it back to the question of a date? So when are we
Well,
setting about dates?
yeah, but I have to be guided by availability.
There's not a huge amount of availability in November or going into December because we've got Oaks in there. rehearsing. We can perhaps see if they can move somewhere else.
I think we need November rather than December. What I'm worried about December is it's going to get very close to Christmas, and people are thinking Christmas presents for Christmas. They're not going to be thinking about problems that the town might have.
It has to be the
It really does.
third week then.
Third week's complete chock-a-block
Third
everywhere.
and fourth.
Well, it could be here, couldn't it?
Well, we could have it in St Peter's Church if we wanted to.
I mean, you've probably got more chance of having it in here.
Well, let's have it in here then. If you think that's a better idea, we'll have it in here. I'm quite happy to
Because
go anywhere.
So it can be big enough for a town meeting on these issues.
We had a real problem with numbers last time we had something as controversial as this. And that was when we were talking about the museum and the courthouse and stuff like that. And it did mean that we had to go to St Peter's because there were so many people going to turn up.
So please, it's got to be a big place.
the last 2 weeks, I've just got something on every night.
Yes,
in QBA.
St Peter's is possibly best bet.
They'll have lots on too, the concerts.
They will have, but I'm just saying it's best bet. But what I'm saying, I'm not choosing the date, I'm just saying.
Well, it sounds like we're not going to be able to from what I'm hearing, so we're going to have to defer it and
I'll see what when this is free, and Gladthorne is free, because Gladthorne's slightly bigger, and see what I can come up with elsewhere, and give you the dates that I think.
Can I make a proposition? We don't have to vote on the date.
No.
We vote on the meeting, and we say leave the date to when we can find a space big enough.
We've already voted on the meetings, I understand it, so it's already so we leave it to the clerk.
Can I just put another thing in there? We're going to have a working party meeting of NP and hopefully Northbridge fairly soon. By that time, Emma will have got the dates, and then the working party can say, right, we'll go that date, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sounds that way.
But there are other places around. I mean, we've got the Great Hall. If our own school are very interested in
Yeah,
this.
they give us the
Big
great
time.
Yeah.
So the Great Hall is a wonderful venue for a meeting.
Well, let's.
They've got all the facilities now.
Absolutely.
Audio visual stuff.
Yep.
Well, let's go for the Great Hall.
Let's leave it to our clerk
I'll leave it to Emma.
to explore what's possible.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Thank you.
Preferably want November, the second week.
It's got to be, yeah, it's got to be November.
If you want me to help talk to St Peter's Church, I'm happy to do that, because I know them.
Okay, yeah, I'll speak to you.
Is that the Catholic or the Protestant one? Or is it? Well, I don't, do I? I don't know either.
Good luck.
Not everybody's done it.
Okay, I want to move on to the next item, please, which is to consider a request from the Friends of Oundle Library for the council to fund the cost of newspapers for the library.
Is there any cost?
We have got a cost. It was
Yeah, it was in the,
£10 a week, wasn't it? £10 a week, so
And they would waive
£520 a year.
I think if we're saying that we've got to support the library in any way we can, then I think we've got to go with it.
Yeah.
The only aspect is maybe to avoid the thin edge of the wedge taking over the role of the county council.
That's
what worries me.
Yeah, and that's what irritates me as well. It's not that I don't support the library, but what I am furious really that NCC should be cutting services and expecting someone else to pick up the bill. And that's not, really isn't acceptable. Having said that.
So, Emma, did we ask Waitrose?
No, I haven't, no.
Only because Waitrose give away free newspapers, and whether or not they would, for the want of having Waitrose stamp on the paper.
You've got Waitrose and Oundle News, I would think.
Well, I think Oundle News have already said no.
Oundle News are already contributing, so they're already doing it at cost. Basically, to get it to £10 a week charge. I might be approaching Waitrose and see if they could do a green token collection for it, because they did one of those for a week. It would pay for it for a year.
They've currently got a collection going for Friends of Oundle
Yes,
Library.
they have indeed. Yes.
It's only the fact that they give free newspapers away. The daily newspapers. But it didn't seem a long stretch just to give them ones to handle. So let's at least ask. And
Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
goes back, then we're back into. I think yes, we agree.
Do we want to at this stage say that if we can't find anyone else who's prepared to fund it, that we will?
The backstop.
Well, it's a backstop. We'll fund it in
There's a lot
in the interim, in the short term, whilst noting that we're very unhappy with the situation, that given that NCC should be doing it, shouldn't be putting their own services. Go on, Terry.
Why should we be running around to find somebody else? Shouldn't they be running around to find somebody else?
Well, maybe so.
But they're not. Yeah. So yeah. Go on.
Is the library open every day now? Otherwise, there's no point in buying the paper every day.
Every day.
Is there not?
No. The hours have changed.
You know,
I'm just trying to think. They're not open on a Monday, but I think I have seen them open.
I think Mr. Stowe's got a very good point.
Yeah.
They could go to the same people and ask for the paper.
Okay, let's say then that we would not. I am suggesting if this is what we're saying, is that we don't agree at this stage to fund the newspapers, but we will look at it again if another solution isn't found. Yeah.
I second that.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. Is everyone happy with that? I don't know if that was actually a proposition, but we'll.
Okay.
I don't think it's a go for a vote because we didn't actually decide anything. But there we go. We'll defer it until we know what's going on.
You don't need a vote.
Next one is to approve the signing of an amended deed of covenant. So for the sale of the rifle range. So this is we've already signed one deed of covenant.
Yeah, it's come back. I think from what I can gather from the letter that the other one before had the Oundle rifle range on the front. This is now for individual names, and that's as far as I can see. There is a difference.
So again, I'm assuming that's not controversial. It's effectively
better from that point.
Yeah. So, is someone going to propose that then? Thank you, Councillor Fuller. Councillor Sharp has seconded. All those in favour?
Yeah.
I think that was everyone. Yeah. Okay. Next then is financial matters. So, bank reconciliation, balance sheet, budget report, hub trading account for September 18. Again, you had it in your pack. There's nothing out of the ordinary that's been brought to our attention.
No, I don't think anything came up at finance meeting.
So, no. So, go on.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is that, as I understood, this meeting in October was to decide what we were going to do about the cap. And
yes. It would be covered in.
It's at the bottom of financial matters.
Is it? Oh, where is that? Sorry, I'm obviously misread. Oh yes, sorry, I do apologise. I read all the top part and then the bottom part. Oh.
Okay, so are we happy to propose? You can propose away.
I will propose.
Councillor Fuller, is someone going to second that? Councillor Peel, thank you. So, in favour of approving the bank reconciliation, balance sheet, and everything. I think that's everyone. I think just about. Yep. Payments for September. I maybe should have declared this at the beginning. Within that payments, there is a £150 expenses claim of mine, which was to buy the Oundle Town picture that has been made into a jigsaw. That was a frame print of the Oundle Town picture went to Andrew as a gift from us to the town, which I bought just before I left, and submitted an expenses claim. And again, just for the record, I would like to confirm what I said at the time, which was that there was no other cost to the council for going on that trip. So the people who went funded their own transport and expenses whilst they were there, and were put up by Andrew, so there's no other costs have been incurred. Okay, so
just got one additional payment for the decorating of the courthouse. So to add to that, we've got an extra payment of 4,180. That is,
which again is in line with what was agreed previously.
yeah, it's agreed.
So that was agreed.
But it's agreed at full council.
Yeah. Okay, so can I have someone to propose that those payments are approved? Councillor Fuller, thank you. And to second it, Councillor Oakes S. And those in favour? That's everyone, thank you. Office computers has come up again, so
They need replacing, as your IT guys.
okay.
They are 7 years old, far too much. Suggestion was to lease them, so you don't have this issue over again. This is what's happening a lot now. So leasing it becomes a payment every month, like everybody else does, cars and everything else. The issue we've had, and I was on the emergency day, we're trying to get some maps printed, and it took such a long time to turn the computer on and do all that stuff. I don't know how you guys are working on that one.
Well, she's had, yeah, it's particularly that one, they're all a bit slow.
They're all old.
Mine's okay.
3 years. You should be replacing IT every 3 years, okay, unless they're max. So that's the point. You either have a cost that goes every 3 years, you put money in, or you lease, and then that's it. There's no problem anymore. So, and it disperses the cost over 3 years rather than having it as a big capital cost. So the decision made is to be made, how do you want to do this? They all need replacing. There's a bit of training, which I can do in Windows 10, it's not that hard. But really, do we lease or do we cash buy?
Well,
I know I would recommend it.
As we haven't got
That's the FGP, I think.
as we haven't got a cost for leasing,
No.
can we suggest that we get look into leasing and then come back with a?
Do you know of any?
If you send me an email tomorrow,
Yeah,
I will get you in touch with the company that we recommend.
That's Bill.
I understand where you come from leasing, but there is a company in Corbett called the Computer Clinic, which does some very, very good computers. We'll back them up with Windows 10 and a very reasonable price to buy. I think it might be worth having a chat with them as
Well, you need to look at the two things.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of people are now looking at this. It just takes the pain away. 3 years' time, same problem.
So I don't like. I'm against basically leasing because I don't think unless you haven't got the money, if you haven't got the money, you don't do it. So I have this sort of thing that don't lease, don't HP, nothing. Pay for it or don't have it.
Yeah, well, you get the maintenance as well as part of leasing, so it's not.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
We do lease our photocopier.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I know that leasing is a part of company business. It's just I don't particularly believe in it.
I've got some sympathy with what Peter's saying, actually. But are we going to go to Blue Moon to quote for these things?
I did have a quote from Blue Moon. I think you had at States when I was on holiday.
We did.
And they quoted for desktops similar to what we've got, but with update according to that extra report that I sent out, and that came to about 800. Well, actually, just under £700.
Is that to update the machines?
That's new machines, new desktops, but like for like, but we've upgraded.
I still think, you know my view. But we'll have a look at leasing. So they can make that decision. It does come with extra bits as well.
I mean, I think one of the issues. Oh, sorry, no.
That's okay.
I think one of the issues at the moment is that we haven't really got any support for them, have we? So I mean, we've got ad hoc, ring up the man and you try to fix it, but
So if
it
we
doesn't
did
seem to be
lease
very effective.
and anything went wrong,
They'll have to look into that, but they would tend to look.
yeah, because at the moment Blue Moon sort of look after all of them.
Yeah, leasing means that any defects they'll fix. They'll go into the details.
Right, okay.
Well, they definitely need upgrading. There's absolutely no question about that. I mean, compared to my machine that I got at home, these things are complete, well, they're just dinosaurs. The other thing I'd say is, for example, my fellow councillor, who sits next to me, doesn't have one of these. Now, I didn't get mine from the council. I actually bought that. And
No, sorry, that's not on the agenda. We'll move
well,
on.
it is, because it's part of
No, it isn't.
computer support.
No, well, sorry, the agenda item is to.
I'm just adding it then. I'll stick it under any other business then.
Okay.
So, just not want to slow it down too much, but we don't seem to be approaching this thing very professionally. You know, we talked about it in the estates meeting, and there, you know, that Ian Clark put forward the idea that the computers weren't that old. This report that we've come back here, you know, says the biggest issue is we're running Windows 7 rather than Windows 10, and we should have had Windows 10 free. You know, that you didn't have to pay for that upgrade. And then all he's talking about is a generation of an i5 processor.
Yeah.
You know, that isn't going to make the speed difference. The speed difference is because the computers are clogged up, because we haven't got regular maintenance contract on them.
No.
You know, so we're actually attacking the... You know, yes, we fixed the computers, we make them faster, but because we've taken all the rubbish off them. But we're not... You know, none of the discussion is very professional. You know, you've got a big input to it because you know this technology, and everybody else has got a little bit. But we ought to have somebody who is our computer contractor.
You need a sort of IT person to take, but that's...
Yeah, well, we need a contract with somebody
yeah.
to do the whole thing.
Well, the leasing companies also provide. I mean, I'm going to find
but I'm not with these guys on leasing.
But also, well, the decision has to be made by the Estates Committee, so it's not their work.
Right.
But there are benefits to each method. But the thing is, you need a decent company to maintain your equipment.
Yeah, because I mean, at the moment we don't have a contract as such with Blue Moon. We just ring them up.
So maybe we want to talk to Blue Moon about...
You want them to come in and do preventative maintenance.
Exactly.
And I think it works out about £20 a month per computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just
I wouldn't disagree with what you said. I don't want to spend much more time on this because we don't have the right information, do we, to make a decision.
I personally think that if you're going to change the computers, you should actually have the whole thing centralised so that our iPads and all that sort of thing are connected together.
Exactly.
So that we have a whole total refresh of everything, and everything then is maintained by one company.
All right. Well, let's take it. Let's let estates go and have a proper look at it then, and we'll do as Councillor Robinson has suggested. We'll do a professional job of looking at what we should be doing. Sorry, I'm a learning computer again. But
no, that's all right. I mean, I think it's right, because I think also as well with the iPads, if you've all got an OTC iPad and it's controlled centrally, then you also won't have all this worry of GDPR.
Exactly.
And
that's what I mentioned it.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Why is it estates and finance and general purposes? It seems to fit more neatly within the one than the other, I'd have thought.
Okay.
it went on to estates, I think, partly because that was the nearest, and we were getting desperate. And then they came here because we were still getting desperate.
I don't have a problem where it goes to, as long as we have it done professionally.
But also now, I would say estates or finance will not be able to deal with it, because I think it's going to come in at quite an expensive. So I think it will have to come back in.
I think originally it used to go through comms.
It did.
Don't stop
They
that.
haven't got any money. They can't spend any money.
Was in my old domain.
We'll put it on whatever the most appropriate agenda seems to be when we're next getting together. Okay. Right. Christmas lights report following the pack testing.
Yes, I did send this out, but the Mayor and I did have to make a decision on this because we were up against time, and it was a case of we don't replace these lights that are broken. If I didn't get back to him, he wouldn't be able to schedule us in to put our lights up. So I spoke to you.
Yeah, we did. Absolutely.
I've got one question. I mean, someone who's a failed pad testing, were they tested last year in class?
They're tested every year.
So why have they suddenly failed?
Just age.
Right.
One set blew up. So.
Just a bit unlucky.
Okay.
Chinese.
Although I think last year we had to replace them as well. I mean, it seems as if the original lights are probably getting to the end of their life, and each year we're having to replace.
I don't see how lights deteriorate very much, actually. I suppose they're outside and everything else, but... So
they get battered around a bit, and then they sit, you know, all year before they're tested again.
There was a suggestion that we look into hiring them for future years, so that we've got an annual smaller cost, which also would have the benefit of potentially having a different display year to year.
Yes, I think that's probably good.
Leasing.
Yes.
Hiring.
Not leasing. Not leasing. It's one money leasing, wouldn't it? Because you'd hire,
No, you just hire.
and then you have to hire something else next year.
That was a flippant
I know.
off.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think hiring,
You need to hire them from Blackpool and I've got some contacts.
I'm from Blackpool.
I think the variety.
I think I might be a bit ambitious.
Serious. Blackpool change their lights regularly, not all of them, but every year they've got new ones, and all the old ones go to towns.
So perhaps we should see
So
if we can get some of
I'm
Blackpool.
quite happy to contact someone.
Anyway,
I
let's.
think it might be too late for this year.
I think with this year's sorted, and the update is that we've had to buy some new lights to make sure that the illuminations will take place in Oundle. Okay, next item is to approve to buy toys for the library using the remaining money donated for the Christmas lights. Go on.
Can I ask if the donors have agreed to this?
Yes, they have. That's why, to be honest, I was a little bit upset by having this on the council list, because it's the donors' money, it's not down on the council.
You asked them to put it on.
No, I know that. Told me it had to come to council.
No, I said that they needed to know.
Can I go back from
People who donated it needed to
So
know.
anyway, yes.
So it's not really for us to vote.
I'm
It's not that
happy.
money,
We'll
so-
take it as receiving the report then that the traders want to buy the toys. That's great.
Yeah, everybody knew about it. In fact, if you look at the card that's gone round, you'll see that it's on there as well.
Yeah,
But there has to be some praise for the council appeal.
absolutely.
No, hang on.
And
no.
indeed,
So,
to my dear lady,
Perseverance.
for raising a considerable amount of money for this.
Nearly £1,000.
Thank you very much, both. Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay, next item is to receive the minutes from the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Which includes the next item, the recommendation on the Hub Cafe. So, is it good for me to say a few words about the Hub Cafe if no one's got any other things they want to raise
Yeah.
on the minutes?
Good. I would argue that.
And basically, so the review of the hub, the minutes in the Finance and General Purposes Committee is that the figures are looking promising, more optimistic. It was agreed that the Finance and General Purposes Committee recommends the full council that the hub continues to stay open. However, the decision to extend the kitchen and the change room for Star Studio to be deferred for another 12 months. And this extension will be included in the 3-year stakes plan.
I'm proposing that because I agree with that totally. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to look at the numbers, but there are a couple of months that were not so good, but generally it was close to breaking even for 4 of the 6 months.
It's not really close to breaking even, because there are direct costs which have not been taken into account there, but it's a lot better than it was.
Can I just
That's
make a
important,
proposition that
Yeah.
the people who've been working on that, Councillor Young included, have done a fantastic job.
Well, that works like sometimes, so thank you.
To turn it round. And I'd just like to, from a personal perspective, because I believe in the hub. I mean,
I think the people to be praised, the work people working on that.
yeah, well, I think, can we make a point that we say something?
I have already done so after the
Officially,
finance meeting, but I can do it after the full council.
Because I think that's, they've done a brilliant job to support the work that we've done to.
Councillor Payne, thank you.
Yeah, there's one thing I would like to say about the estates putting the hold on the kitchen and the change is twofold. Firstly, we've already heard from Councillor Fuller in regard to needing showers here, which means we could actually go ahead with the extension, and if in the meantime the hub didn't perform better in the longer term, that particular place could be showers. And secondly, if we don't go ahead with the changing room for the ballet, when the new Oundle School part is opened, they're going to look elsewhere, because at the moment it is not satisfactory for children to be changing in the cafe hub.
They're not changing in the cafe hall. They have the barnwell room.
Oh, they have the barn
Yeah.
room now. Oh, well, yeah, but you still see children sitting in the.
They're just waiting to go
right,
into
okay.
that.
But so I don't think that particular time span is a good idea. I think we should especially April. But that's the only thing I'd make a comment on. Because we could use both those areas for different uses if we need to, for instance, like councillors for the showers, etc. etc.
Though I would say that the hub is a very important part of what we do, and I would fight it tooth and nail to see it closed. I wouldn't see it closed.
Now, I'm not saying we close the hub. What I'm saying
It's
is
the extension to put it
the
in.
extension,
Yeah.
the extension part,
Yeah.
whether we need to have the extension in the hub or for the cafe, or we need to have it for the showers.
I don't see how we can go ahead with it unless the extension, unless we know what it's going to be used for. Is it going to be used for showers or changing rooms?
I think wait until we get the report back from the British Red Cross and Northampton County Council, you might find some needs that we have to do if we are to become what we want to be in that respect. There's no point in making a decision yet until we know
We
it's...
couldn't have showers sitting there all year and maybe used every 12 years or something when there's an emergency.
there's lots of things that you have in an emergency that you don't use until you're in an emergency.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of what emergencies we've had.
5 years ago,
Having
we
lived here 30 years,
5 years we never evacuated people from your road.
well, yeah, but
So
that's,
that was only
you
5
wouldn't
years.
keep a facility like that
It depends what
going
else there's.
unused for 5 people that could come and use my
So we'll wait for that report anyway.
Yes. I also
And there may be other solutions to shower showers.
Can I-
Put large toilets here, like on the
But I do personally think that we should do the kitchen.
Can I,
in the hub to
can I-
make it properly viable.
Okay. Can I ask someone to propose the...
Yes.
Oh no, sorry, no, we're only receiving the minutes. No, sorry, no, see that. So we've received the minutes.
That's it.
That's it. Regarding the hub, you've seen the recommendation that we should all vote on at the moment. Not anything else about extending things or anything else,
And improve.
showers or anything else. All we're saying is we're happy for the hub to continue for another 12 months.
Yes.
So that's a proposal. Councillor Fuller, thank you. Seconded. Councillor Oakes, S, thank you. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. That was everyone.
No, it wasn't.
Was it not? Oh, beg your pardon.
I still think we should go ahead with the kitchen.
No,
Yeah, that's not
you
legit.
agree that the hub should stay open for...
Oh yeah, no, I agree, yeah.
Yeah, he is,
That's
he does
the
agree,
opposition.
but
But
doesn't
not
agree.
the kitchen on.
Yeah, so that's not on the agenda, so we're not doing that tonight.
Now for the NP.
Oh. To receive an update on neighbour plan and to approve expenditure for consultant.
Has everybody got the
Yeah, we've got the
copy
piece
of
of
the
paper.
report?
Yeah, we are.
Did you get, you've seen the quote?
Yeah,
Uh,
no brainer.
Hopefully you all looked at the consultant's website, you saw the fact that they've done SEAs and that they've gone through completion.
Second
And they are really a really good consultant.
What's this?
What we've done is because they wanted to split this up and not do the SEAs and I always get this wrong. I always say HBA. It's HRA, isn't it? Anyway, so they want £101,585 to do the screening, and you can see there the 4 objects of the screening that they will be doing. I've already sent them the original copy of the neighbourhood plan. I've sent them the objections that Richard sent to us. I've sent them the incomplete SEA from the last consultant and why the ENC rejected those SEAs. So they have all that information already and they are willing to go ahead and within the time span to get it done by January 2019.
January the 1st.
Sorry?
By January, beginning of January.
What we've said is January because we understand now that the ENC are slipping on the dates and that could be sort of February, March before they get theirs out. But yes, I did say the 1st of January, but I just said January as a general word. So that's it. So I just need you to say yes.
Just propose it. There's no brainer.
I don't know.
Sorry, Peter, could you just clarify something?
Sorry.
On the 1st of January, they'll complete the screening, or they'll complete the SEAs?
No, they'll complete the SEAs. The whole job will be done by the 1st of January.
But do they want some extra money for the SEAs?
Yes, that's a second chargeable amount, which they don't know yet because they haven't contacted the ENC to know exactly what. they want in the SENs.
Yeah. And in terms of funding for that, just so we don't hold it up, if we got another council meeting that will approve the other funding.
Well, we've got
Let me know.
£7,500 already in the fund,
Yeah.
so we know we've got those funds available.
So
It's just a matter of clearing this.
are they likely to want more than £6,000?
I would not have thought so.
No, okay. So
Because I was-
we get, all I'm just checking
Yeah,
is now is the right time to have some more money if you need it.
When I
Rather
spoke
than-
to Joe Idle and we had a long conversation, he was in New Zealand and I was here very early in the morning, he thought it would be more expensive than 1,585. So when this came in, he was very happy that it actually worked out a lot better value for us.
Yeah. So I'm just checking that you don't need to ask the council for more money.
Well, I mean,
Will
I
do.
will always come and ask the council. I'm not
No,
going to
that's
say, oh, you know, pay this bill. That's not the way our councils work. But hopefully it will come within the £7,000, £7,000,
We've got neighbourhood plan meeting,
Which is full council.
which is full council, so
2 weeks
it's in
every
effect
2
every 2
Okay,
weeks
right.
we can.
So we need to get that estimate in in 2 weeks' time. And then
Well, no, he won't do that until he's actually completed the screening.
when's that going to be?
Well, the screening, as you can see, starts on the 2nd of November. That's when they actually start working for us, because we couldn't get them to work beforehand because we hadn't voted in the £1,585.
All right, I'm just trying to think of the game of chess 2 moves in front.
Yeah, I
Just
understand
so we
that.
can get the money.
Shall we get started then? Shall I propose?
Proposal. Councillor Fuller, seconded. Councillor Stagg, in favour.
Let's go.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
No, it's fantastic. Let's go for it.
To be honest, I didn't actually think we'd ever find a consultant. I was quite prepared tonight to come and say, we're not going to do it.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's happening.
Okay,
It's effort.
next item is to receive the minutes from the planning committee meeting held on the 2nd of October.
Oh,
Yeah.
our lovely planning meetings, which we really enjoy.
Okay.
They're tabled, and somebody's got any questions, I suggest we just keep moving.
Keep moving, okay, and then
Propose it.
no, we're already receiving, and in the same way we're only receiving the estates management as the meeting minutes as well. So again, minutes held, meeting held on 25th of September.
It was a young holiday.
Okay, so everyone's okay with that, and there's no questions. We'll go on to communications and marketing. To consider changing the name of the working group to communications working group and incorporating the marketing into a estates management committee. Which there was a few emails flew backwards and forwards. I'm not sure if everyone was in copy of those, but it seemed to be a pretty good idea by most people.
Okay, well, it's quite a good idea maybe for the estates group to market the buildings, but there's a lot more marketing that you've done in the town. We've got to market festivals, we have to market our message to the community, which is what the Oracle does to a certain extent. So I don't know if estates group is the right forum to do that.
Having been the chairman of the communications committee in the past, it's marketing, isn't it?
Communications. Well, it was originally, as I understand it, looking after the hardware, the notice boards and and then when Michaela Denta was here, we had a different marketing group and it was absorbed into comms. But this never happened.
Does anybody, I mean, there's only a few of you who were here when I did that presentation, it was a long time ago, about pushing and pulling information. And so communications is all about pushing information out to the town and not pulling. There's a difference between providing, that's what the notice boards were. They were physically things that people had to read as they went past, rather than people having to go and find information. So at the moment, before that, we had people come up to the council, have to ask questions and find it. What we've got to be better at is pushing information out. So a lot of tonight's all about communication. In fact, most of our council meetings, a lot of it is about communications and effective communication. And I feel that marketing is a strange beast because it's what you're marketing. And perhaps it should be possibly split between communication, where we communicate things to the people of the town, which is the communications group, which does involve some marketing, and whether we actually market things minimally like we do now, because communications isn't necessarily about making sure that we fill all the rooms in the Fletton House. That's a different beast altogether. And that should be an estate. But communication to market events like the town meeting coming up, it's our involvement with the public town which involves communication stroke marketing in that way. And that was always my philosophy back in the old days when I used to do communications.
Well, I can understand that, but have you got enough members on the comms committee to make that work?
Who's on the comms committee at the moment?
I think we've got 4 members putting on comms.
That's enough. Who's that?
So I just think in terms of names, yeah, it's sensible. Put the marketing of our facilities into the estates group and the communications group about that outward facing part.
Okay.
So they're called communications, they do all the outward facing. We have to market some facilities.
As long as
And
it's clear,
we've got to give them the bullets, we've got to give them what to
Yeah,
market.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, so I'm
I'm
quite
happy
happy
with
with
that.
this proposal here. to split
That's the
names.
proposal explained.
It's neater, lets everybody know where they are.
Okay, so I think we'll count that as a proposal then from
Yeah, I'll
Councillor
propose it.
Roberts.
There you
Councillor
go.
Fuller seconded in favour.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay. So next item is to approve to have a monthly town council update in the Oundle Advertiser and to produce 2 editions of the Oundle Oracle per year.
Yeah, so it's a shame Ian's not here to do this, but I mean part of Ian as he's been evolving this thing, you know, to say that we could have, for the same expenditure, we could have more frequent communications by using a regular publication that's there in everybody's door. You know, so we could do a regular with those and then just have two times a year we do the more expensive Oracle. Because, you know, as a receiver of the Oracle, well, fortunately it's a, you know, there was a 10-minute flick through and then it's gone in recycling. It's a lot of money we pay for that magazine.
There's somebody.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind putting stuff into the Advertiser because it does go through every door and people do sometimes keep it for other reasons. But I actually think it's extremely important to keep control of our own communication. And the best way of doing that is to continue the Oracle, as it has been for the last goodness knows how many years. I think it's a very successful publication. I do think that a lot of people do value the opportunity to read about what this town council does and things that go on within the town. And with all due respect, it's not what people necessarily are looking at the Oundle Advertiser for. They're likely to look at that because they want a plumber or they want something else. And I'm not convinced that it could replace the Oracle. It might supplement it. But to me, if anything, it should be the other way around. It should continue the Oracle with the frequency it has and maybe supplement that in the months where we don't have Oracles by having occasional bit into the Advertiser. And if that actually costs a bit more money, then so be it. But I'd rather do that than use the Oracle, which I value hugely.
I like my fire with my rubbish. I think we should keep our own organ, dare I say.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you
Yeah.
go now.
It was just, I agree with you. It is something that's completely full of adverts, and if you might keep it if ever you think you might need a plumber or whatever. But the only thing I find with the Oracle, having had to do the last few, is it seems to get left to the very last minute. It's then a scrap round to find articles. I then have to sit trying to put it all together. Some of it becomes out of date. We had a situation this time, I got adverts from people, by the time we got them, that had passed, so I had to ask for others. And it also gets full of other stuff that isn't town council information. So I think something on a monthly basis that is literally about what we've done over the past month is useful. Because at the moment it just seems to be something that other people can advertise in.
I've got experience of actually doing the Oracle from the past. Let's not take the past too much. You learn from the past to make the future more prevalent. But the point is, you are in control of the information. That's the most important thing. The issue of articles and things, you shouldn't be the editor of the Oracle. You should be producing it, but we need to have somebody who's the editor of the Oracle. And that normally comes from the communications thing, but they're probably doing that already. But someone needs to step to the point and become an editor who's got the time, which is the issue I have. The other thing that I think we should be exploring, I don't agree with this idea. I don't think it's good. I think the Oracle is going forward at the moment. We can make it a lot better. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's just get the Oracle right. That's the first thing. I think we should be exploring a lot more social media. When I was doing this before, we were trying to investigate that. But the trouble about social media, you've got to put money into it. And I know that we've already got money coming in for the Oracle, but actually, you do need a person of the right age who's out there shoving out stories. Perhaps they could be employed on a part-time basis. But for our social media to work, and I think we're missing a trick here, you do need to employ someone to do it, because none of us can do it.
Yeah, I know, and we can't do it.
And that needs to explore, so I'm going to throw that back at the Communications Committee to investigate, because my view is the Oracle is recognised through the town. The only thing I'll say about the Oracle, I wish we were out delivering it again. I know it's not a lot for everybody, but to be honest, when you were delivering the paper, it was a chance for you to meet the town and to get to know the town. I used to do it all around Newhouse, down that way, and I used to find out all these nooks and crannies that I never knew existed. And then you take on the only issues that people couldn't do it, so I ended up doing 3 rounds in one go. But I so liked it, I did it. And I got to know that you get to know the town. And I firmly believe that we should do at least one a year, with a Christmas one or something like that, because we've missed a trick there. So I'm going to defend the Oracle. I think it's worth every single bit of money that we do, and it's one of the examples of us pushing. We're pushing it into doorsteps, so people are having to think where it is they're getting it in their doorstep.
You're repeating yourself.
No, that's fine.
Just a point on that. I think that's fine. I think everyone's talking singing from the same hymn sheet here. From listening to everybody, what seems to be the point is the Oracle is a good publication. It's our major publication, but it needs revamping. Very, very badly it needs revamping. And this is that thing. On Sunday morning, I read the Oracle, and I was so frustrated with the front cover that I sat on my little. This is why you got this in front of you. I tried to email it to you, but I couldn't. It didn't work on the email for some reason. So I did a new front page, just on Word, just to go. It should be in your face, front page. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not saying that that's going to be the new front page. I just was out of frustration more than anything else, just to say it needs to be a magazine that represents the things that we sit in this council and try and change for the town, just to put it out there. And it needs, the one that's there is brilliant, and this is not a criticism at all. It's a frustration that our communication, our Oracle, doesn't do the job properly. It needs to be revamped, and I agree with Councillor Fuller, it needs an editor, it needs someone there who's got their finger on the pulse, saying, this is what's happening, this is what's happening.
I'm going to ask if anyone's going to say anything to defend the proposition that we do go to, because at the moment I'm only hearing people say we don't.
Sorry, I've already said I'm defending what's put down.
And I think it was also to include 2 oracles a year as well, so it was to put Oundle Town Council, what's happened over the month in this, but then have 2 of our own publications. It's just, I think the Oracle, our Oracle is losing its way, sort of thing.
I really would like to talk about this very quickly. I actually edited this for over 6 years with former Mayor Councillor Radcliffe. One of the issues that came up was that we got to be a quality council. And one of the requirements was that you did put out a regular communication, and that was 4 times a year. So we're going to get into a bit of stickiness. If we,
There's no such thing as quality council anymore.
no, maybe there isn't, but what I'm trying to say is this is a historical thing. I edited the thing a lot, and it's always difficult to get articles in. I used to be the enforcer. Basically, I used to ring people up and say, you know, come on, let's have your opinions. And it's always been very, very difficult to get people to get things on time. The other thing there is an issue with is that I'm not entirely sure whether we should really go anywhere near something with an advertising thing, because that's frowned upon as well. So I'm totally in favour of sticking to what we have at the moment. I accept entirely, you know, it's improved enormously over the years. And you've done a sterling job just to keep the thing ticking over. So, you know, credit where credit's due. All right, it might need to maybe a little bit more like the Sun than the Daily Telegraph, but you get the general idea. I'm absolutely dead against dropping from 4 a year.
So the proposal is to go on 12 communications a year, 2 of which were ours and 2 were using another media to get out to the people. Because, yeah, that's what the proposal is, 12 a year communications to the public. So it's timely, it's relevant, you know, and it's, you know, it's snappy, you know, and that's what was put forward. And I say it's unfortunate that Ian isn't here, you know, because, you know, he sort of thought about this and thought about why the current publication, you know, it's not fit for purpose.
And
is
the advertiser happy with it? I mean,
sorry?
The advertiser's happy to
Yes.
put a section in there that is all about it.
Yeah.
That's 2 page.
Yeah.
Right. My view, I've already expressed, is social media articles.
So social media is going ahead. So again, Ian was here. We tell you what we're doing. I mean, you go on the website now. You can go on Northbridge. You can type in Oundle Northbridge. You get our social media in Northbridge and all the nutters that read it. You know, so it's, you know, there is a problem with social media. You know, you're getting a completely different audience.
I would agree with Councillor Flood. I think we need 4 editions of the article. I'd also agree with Sandy that putting it in the Oundle Advertiser is a good idea, because if you look at the Oundle Advertiser, at the back it gives all the doctors' surgeries, times and all that sort of thing. And so that would be information to people of Oundle in the Oundle Advertiser. Whether we need to go into 12 of those a year, and maybe do it for only 6, I would say maybe the 6 would be more appropriate than the 12, because we're still doing the 4 articles. And it is so important that we get the social media side. I mean, for instance, the Northbridge Facebook page now is getting a lot of people looking at it. It's not easy to find, by the way. I've taken a long time to try and get into it, and we need to encourage people of that. I'd also encourage Oundle Council website to be more proactive in putting news out there rather than waiting for news to come.
I think the website is more for information. That holds the council's minutes, policies, things like that. I think we should be using our Facebook, Twitter for current news to go out. Because
well, I think Oundle Info is important on that stage as well.
Yeah,
so
and
I'd
we've also
actually
got
use,
Oundle Info.
Yeah, I'd actually use Info, Facebook, and get away with the North. Forget the Northbridge, right? Put it as a general Oundle Council Facebook page, because we need to get all the information out there and as much as possible, all the time.
Have we got a joined up plan for all our communications?
Clearly not.
No.
That's going to be Council Fuller's job.
I mean, I'm sure. I'm tempted to say I don't think we're in a position to really make a proposal
No,
and so
I would like to defer the discussion until Ian is here, because Ian has put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah,
It's just unfortunate.
I think it's entirely in that
Yeah.
it should be.
And I think it needs to be done. We need to be talking about all these things together, don't we? Not just advertising or not. Yeah. So let's defer that then until we get a bit more. I'll ask our newly reinvigorated and redefined communications team to to come up with a coherent communications plan. Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, we do have a November Oundle Oracle to approve, which is the next agenda item. So have we got?
I mean,
Yeah,
with
still
a few
somewhat fine,
tweaks,
is it?
I mean, I can speak to Clive and we can try and tweak the front page, but I don't really want to have to rewrite the whole thing before it, because I've only got a couple of weeks for it to go out.
Time, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
the thing about it is if we can tweak the front page to make it look slightly more punchy and rearrange some of the pages. Because I think the order of the pages.
Can we do that the next time, please?
Well,
Not
okay.
this time.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm being led by you.
yeah.
Yes. So.
A slight typo thing in that you've got quite a long piece about Maureen Weston without saying that she's Maureen Weston.
Okay, right, all right, put that in there. What, her name doesn't feature anywhere?
So you spend your time reading the page thinking, who are they talking
Who
about?
is this?
It does at the bottom, but it's fairly obvious that it is Maureen.
No, I know, but it really needs to say that it's...
Oh, right.
It actually doesn't mention her name on the
Oh, it says at the top, Maureen.
Yeah,
But you want...
Madam Clerk, just ask a question. Are you using WordPress?
No, publisher.
You're using Publisher? Okay. It's just that I've got an incredibly expensive piece of publishing equipment which would make you have floating pages and all sorts of clever stuff.
No, let's make
No, if anybody else wants to do it, I'm more than happy to just hand this over.
I know, but it's
It takes up far too much of my time.
Takes it into another realm.
So, so that said, are we happy to proceed with the November Oracle, even though we haven't got the final version and the other bit of...
Yeah, I mean, I will send it out to you well before it's going to go out, so you can have a look at it.
Okay,
Well done.
sorted, right. Correspondence for information. So we've got to receive information regarding a Redeeming Our Communities event, which we've all read, no doubt. We've also received a consultation from the Northamptonshire County Council on adult social care prevention services.
Why do Northampton prevent adult social care? I know they've got no money, but that seems to be taking it to the extremes.
It's a weird title.
Is it not?
I mean, do we feel that we need to respond to that consultation then?
I actually feel very strongly about this. I have to say that if they're going to be doing quite a lot of what they're saying, somewhere along the line, somebody's got to start picking it up again, aren't they? Because, you know, the decommissioning of services for hearing impaired and for visually impaired is not a good idea. And I think we should write very strongly to the NCC and say this is not what we want, this is not going to be acceptable to Oundle Council, and we should really make a very strong voice against this.
Okay, so can we have a volunteer then to draft a response?
I think we should draft a really strong response.
So you're volunteering to do...
I can't do it. Okay, I'll do it.
Well, someone's got to do it.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it because you know I will send a very strong.
You've got the...
If you don't send it to me, I'll because you go online and do these
Yeah.
consultation.
Yeah.
Just I'll speak to you and then sort it out.
But I think Oundle as a council should be really strongly against this.
Okay.
A lot of people that read those.
Yeah, it's an online question, yeah.
Yeah, quite it's questions more so than actually sending. You have to just go through and you can do it individually as well if you would choose to.
But it may be worth, as a council, making a statement against it, about it. I agree.
I think we should. I think the council should make a statement against it and write a letter to these people.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know who to write it to. But
Well, I mean, look, it's obviously got to do with social care services. So, you know,
Head of Social Services.
yeah.
Well, there's the website.
Well, you could
and
write
online
just a letter
questions.
saying that it's minuted that we
disagree.
deplore what's happening.
I'll go through the consultations as well to see. There will be an opportunity to put a comment in.
But I mean, this is going to affect the charities that help with these people as well. I mean, it's a disgrace.
Maybe it's another article for the horrible from race on the concern. People can put in the consultation.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think
I've got any pages.
There's no pages.
we're not going to get any pages left for that, but yes, you know, and that should be on the Facebook page.
Yeah, that's what the section.
And
Consultations have gone out to everybody.
Yeah, but not to the people.
They have. They've gone out on our Facebook page. They've gone out on our website.
Oh, you've put them out to the
They-
people?
But we have to. All consultations
Oh, that's
go out.
brilliant. Okay, that's lovely, I didn't realise.
Okay.
Digital notice boards.
Something for the meeting.
You must use the digital notice boards.
Yeah, we use those as well, but it's very difficult to
No,
put
just to make
information
them aware,
about
go to
the
this page.
Yeah, we have to be
consultation.
careful because we're
Yeah.
not the organ of the county council.
Yeah, and we've only got so many characters that we can fill out on it, so it's better to go. Well,
Oh,
that
that's
sort of
the-
thing is better on the website.
The notice boards can be used for pointing people in the approach. Have your say.
I think it's certain that NCC are on as well.
Okay. The next one is to receive news release from East Northants regarding the Nene Valley Festival, which again you've received.
Good time.
Everything I'd say is just disappointing we weren't included in it. Because we are in the Nene Valley.
No, we had Barnwell Park, that's all we were, just,
Sorry?
Barnwell Park was there.
Yes, it was. But that's not in Handel.
It is.
We're
doing a land grab.
You asked Barnwell if it's in Handel.
Yes, you recorded it.
Okay, last one we received was a report from Stagecoach announcing the launch of a new X4 Gold bus. I have seen, but I haven't ridden on it yet.
One has been on it.
I've ridden on it, have you?
Are they improved?
Yeah, it's based on Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. You can fly
That's
over
it.
the River Nene.
You don't use the North Bridge at all.
I'm going to say that's it. He did a
I
North
just
Bridge.
say, I've
Problems.
used it several times, it's been late every time.
Okay.
And a lady yesterday when I was on the bus, I could hear this voice saying, and they've got stop-start on it, you know, where the engine cuts out. And then she goes, of course there's more stop than start. So I just about sums it up.
I was on today and we had the stop buttons to request a stop on one side of the bus. They were not on the left-hand side downstairs, they were on the right-hand side downstairs.
That's got to start service for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I look forward to it. Okay, so in view of the special and or confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, it's advisable and the public interest that will probably be temporarily excluded and they're restricted to withdraw. There are no public to withdraw, so we're on our own. So have we paused?
Have you proposed it?
Oh, sorry, I'll propose that. Yes. Those in favour? Against?
One against it.
I don't believe in closed sessions.
Okay, so
Do we name ourselves? I'm quite happy to do that. As we go.
If I see your hands, I'll know.
It'll be in the minutes.
Yeah.
What the road vote.
Yeah.
So the proposition is that we approve the expenditure to pay for the cost of mediation. The proposer is Councillor Humphreys. Seconder is Councillor Fuller. All those in favour? Anyone against? And we have one abstention. Okay, thank you very much. Last item is any other matters for report only. So we took Neville's point earlier on about whether we're going to look at the IT and including.
Well, but the reason I mentioned it is that IT these days is all about mobile phones, IT tablets, connected to network servers, you name it.
We'll have
you know, that's all going to be put into the.
Yeah. Has anyone got anything else? Nope. We've got one from Councillor Peel.
Yeah, it's, and I mentioned this before the meeting, the Christmas tree is going up week commencing the 12th, but we might need some volunteers to stand out with high-vis jackets to stop the public while we're... No, the problem is it can't be on a Saturday, but it can't be the Sunday because it's the 11th, and they want to put all the lights up by the end of week commencing the 12th. So we've got basically the Monday, Tuesday or the Wednesday, because obviously it's Thursday is the market. I just need a couple of people at night. I'm not sure exactly what time. Yeah.
He hasn't asked you what you can do yet.
Yeah.
He wants you to be the fairy until.
Looks like there's lots of volunteers when we subject to confirming the date. But
Yeah, we have an angel this year.
So I'll email you with the exact date and the exact time, and hopefully, 5 or 6 of you will turn up and we can just get it.
Will do.
Very good.
Will do.
Is that all right?
Just one point that someone pointed out to me in the town, it was about and it's come up earlier, about the notice board that it's hidden round the corner of the building. Why is it hidden round the corner of the building? As it's the notice board, no one can ever see it. So it needs to, at some point, be shifted round.
Where, what, around the front?
The one around the centre.
Yeah, the one on the side, which way though?
By the cafe or by the
At the
Or
front?
where to move it to.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the flat house?
Yeah, the one on the end.
Go out
I agree with you, but I thought where could it change to?
But,
Yeah, I think the front though, isn't
I
it?
don't know, I don't know where.
Well, we need it on the building because
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
the notice board that we post the notices on.
You're not
As part of it.
Can we have two? One on
Well, I'm not going to start climbing a ladder in weeks.
Well, it's a point for later, so I agree with them, it needs to be moved, it needs to be put somewhere more prominent, because it is on our notice board, and no one can see it at the moment, so I don't know
People
where
only
it is.
drive past it.
Well, not many people drive.
Is the tree in the way, isn't it?
No,
It will be
it's
after
position.
the new year.
They don't- you
Sue
don't
needs to
stop
talk
it.
about
Yeah, I
something.
do, sorry.
No, absolutely, no, absolutely.
I've just got a concern because the cafe, Smith's at number 4, as it used to be, had a break-in.
yes.
And the two girls who run it are selling it, but they used to work very closely with the police at one point. And they actually asked the police if they could look at the CCTV film, because it would show. And they said, well, no. I spoke to the lady who was at the meeting the other day. She was a police representative when Tom Pursworth was here.
Yeah.
And she said, well, actually, there is no CCTV. It doesn't work, it's not working. And I said, well, that's a bit of a concern because I don't know how much we pay to maintain it if it's
Well, our
it's not-
CCTV.
Yeah,
our
yeah.
CCTV.
It does work.
No, we're talking about in the town.
In the town,
Yes, it does.
yes.
Well,
Well,
So the police come to us and then John uses the recorder and the screen and then we either download it and put it on a stick and then the police take it away.
I'm just,
It's
okay.
been done
So why don't you get
Yeah.
them to look at that incident so they can give it to the police to investigate?
Yeah, we need to have an official note. It has to come through the police. We have to have an
Okay,
official
that's fine
notice.
then, that's fine.
They come round, they come in, give us the notice. We get so long as we know what time it was, and because obviously we can't sit there for 24
No,
hours trying to go through. But yeah.
Okay, well, I'll
We
go and
do it
see
quite
them
often.
then, because I left it with this police lady, and she was going to see them because she knows them. But I'll go in tomorrow
Yeah.
and I'll see what's happened.
Yeah, we
I'm just concerned about it wasn't working.
Yeah, we pay a maintenance contract. We,
I don't know why she said that.
Very good.
There we go.
Best,
Yeah.
the best thing to protect
Anyone
us.
else? Anything? Right. Nope.
I'll go and see
Okay.
them.
Meeting closed at 9:22.
Congratulations,